decided to look into this case. I hadn't heard of this one. Today we're going to Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, which is northwest of Pittsburgh. A couple years ago on Mother's Day, 10 to 12 shots were heard in a neighborhood. This 33-year-old teacher was gunned down in her driveway. This is Rachel Del Tondo. She was a teacher at Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School. Rachel was recently put on leave from her job for being found in a car with a minor. They claim to have just been chatting. The minor was Sheldon Jeter Jr., who is now 22. I think Rachel was dating his older brother at one time. She apparently fully worked with police and did everything she needed to do. However, there was a lot of procedures that weren't properly taken in this incident. It's also important to note that Rachel was engaged during this time. I believe his name is Frank Catropa. Surveillance footage actually puts him 25 miles away from the crime, so it doesn't really seem like he did it. Directly, at least. It's also really important to note that this is the 9th unsolved murder in this city in Pennsylvania. Part 2 coming soon. So about those precautions that police did not take seriously. When Rachel was found with the minor, she was never charged with anything. Police never filed a report with the Federal Child Abuse Prevention Center, even though they just claimed to have been talking. Rachel's mom claims that Sheldon was obsessed and in love with Rachel. I still don't think this is enough motive for him to kill her. However, Sheldon is in prison right now for being charged with a different murder case. Back to Rachel Del Tondo, though. Articles were saying that there were absolutely no evidence of a murder weapon. If she was shot in close range, couldn't you find shell casings? Correct me if I'm wrong. Rachel also apparently was receiving death threats, claiming she wouldn't see the end of 2018. She said to have reported all these to the police. Before Rachel was shot, she was getting ice cream with her best friend Lauren. Lauren's dad is a police officer, who apparently was turned away from the scene for arguing with investigators. This is a really weird case. This also made Lauren and Lauren's mom suspects. They got a warrant for all their messaging. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to do a part 3. So what exactly is so sketchy about this police department? The police department allegedly leaked personal information of Rachel Del Tondo's to unauthorized people. Also, to really mix things up, an inmate in Beaver County, which is where Aliquippa is, received a letter claiming that the police department was at fault for this, and they were the ones who shot Rachel. Of course, as it always goes, this inmate was offered a shorter sentence for more information. I truly don't think it was Sheldon. However, the murder that he's currently in prison for is oddly similar. I just don't see why Sheldon would. Maybe it's because I don't know this case well enough. I definitely don't think it's the fiancé. He had a pretty solid alibi. So who the hell did it? I think it's insanely weird that this is the 9th unsolved murder in this city. People are screaming corruption, but most importantly, people want answers. And let me know in the comments what you think happened to Rachel Del Tondo.
Let's talk about the ghost of the bath. Blythewood Square in Glasgow was the place to be in the 1800s, but when Captain Smith moved his family there, little did they know of its dark and sinister past. One night, he was getting ready to have a bath when he saw the apparition of a beautiful woman strangling someone in the bathtub. Weeks later, his son was using the bathroom when he saw a bloated, lifeless body of an elderly man submerged in the bath. Apparently, the house had previously been occupied by a wealthy elderly gentleman who, as frailty set in, became increasingly dependent on his young nursemaid, who, seeing an opportunity to enrich herself, persuaded the old man to make her his wife. Several weeks later, the man was reported dead, said to have drowned in the bath. Shortly after the old man's funeral, the property was put up for sale and the young woman was never seen again.
Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the murder of Tara Grinstead. This was a missing person mystery for a while, but it was solved fairly recently, but I want your input on it. Tara here was a high school history teacher and a beauty pageant queen. She actually helped little girls in pageants as a coach, which is actually what she was doing on the night when people last saw her. Tara went to a barbecue with some friends after the pageant, but then didn't show up for work on Monday, which was very strange. Police went to the residence after people were concerned, and they found her car there and her phone, but no keys or purse. There was no signs of forced entry. It didn't really look like a crime scene, just no Tara. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation got to work immediately. Unfortunately, the case kind of went cold until about 2008, when CBS hosted their 48-hour special on the missing persons case. On this episode, police revealed that they did find a latex glove on her property with a male DNA on it. They just didn't say who. They also pointed out that this was very similar to other missing persons cases, where they literally just vanished. Unfortunately, the DNA on the glove was found inconclusive, but they never really said that until later. In 2009, really creepy videos of this guy started showing up on the internet. He claimed to be the Catch Me Killer, saying he has taken the lives of more than 16 women. He tried to blur his face, he altered his voice, but police eventually found out who he was. This is Andrew Haley, and it was all a hoax. I do think he was eventually found guilty of fraud. Again, police claim that this case never went cold, but now it's 2011 and there's still no information. And then finally in around 2016 or 2017, a podcast, Up and Vanished, brought more attention to Tara's case. Finally, in 2017, police made an arrest of Ryan Alexander Duke. Things might start to get confusing here, I apologize. Ryan here was a student at the high school that she taught at, but not at the same time. According to claims, he tried to burglarize her house, but she caught him in the act. So unfortunately, when Tara caught him in the act, he did attack her and killed her. Then, out of nowhere, this man, Bo Dukes, was arrested. And no, they're not related, so we are dealing with a Duke and a Dukes, who were next to each other in the school yearbook. So he was also a student at the high school that she taught at, but again, not the same time. What's really upsetting is Tara's sister, Anita, said she knew Bo and his family and never would have suspected anything like this. They tried to put a gag order on the trial to get a fair jury, which just means trying to limit all media consumption so nobody was biased, but that was overturned, I believe, in 2018. Irwin County indicted Duke for malice and felony, murder, aggravated assault, burglary, and concealing a death. And the only reason Bo is involved is because Ryan called Bo and asked him to help him with the body. They apparently burned her body for 2 days to get rid of all the evidence. I have to do a part 4 because there's just a little bit more information. So of course people are coming forward saying, Bo was way too nice. There's no way he could have done this. Bo Dukes was actually indicted on 2 different accounts of rape, unrelated to Tara's case. Seems real nice to me. He's been trying to get an appeal, and that actually was supposed to happen in late November, but I couldn't find any more information about it, so if you know anything, please comment. I think he's also on Twitter, like posting photos of himself. It's disgusting. My heart goes out to Tara's family. I hope they finally found peace. I do have a lot of questions about how this all came about. If you know anything else about this case, please comment. Because it seems like the arrests kind of came out of nowhere. And it's weird that the only evidence that they could find on the house was a random latex glove that they found outside on her lawn with little to no information on whose DNA it was. Let me know in the comments what you guys think.
Have you heard of the Lady of Lumley? Built in the 14th century in the north of England near the city of Durham, Lumley Castle is believed to be one of the most haunted places in County Durham. The oldest ghost story of Lumley Castle involves the 14th century lady of the manor, Lady Lumley. According to legend, Lily was murdered by 2 Catholic priests when she refused to convert to Catholicism, after which the priests threw her body down a well on the property. However, she refused to stay dead. Lily has been witnessed wandering the corridors of the castle, said to let out a bone-chilling shriek as she flies towards whoever is unlucky enough to encounter her. The castle even made headlines in 2005 when the Australian cricket team fled the castle in the middle of the night. When questioned, they claimed a horrific ghost chased them from the castle, and to this day, not one of them has returned.